Oh my gosh, guys. I have videos of me crashing out. I was not okay. Hi everyone, my name is Sadie.
My name is Kenzie.
And today we're going to be talking about our journey from community college to two of the top public institutions in Texas. I go to Texas A&M University.
And I'm attending UT Austin.
And we both went through very different pathways through community college to get to where we are now. If you guys want to skip the introductions to whoever you relate to, want to know more information about, Mackenzie enrolled in a program in which she was able to get her associate's and her high school diploma by the end of high school, and she took a gap year as well after that. And then I went straight into community college from high school. Skip to wherever you need to learn more about.
So as she said, I attended a charter school that was offered in my district. Basically, this charter school was partnered with a local community college, and they paid for us to take classes at the community college and graduate with our associate's degree at the end of the 4 years. I chose Associates of Arts because I didn't want to take more STEM classes. So after I graduated high school with my associate's degree, I basically wanted to be a pilot because I didn't really want to do anything, and I thought that traveling was what I wanted to do. But I found out that through this program I was going to attend, it was going to be $100,000+ in 2 years, and that just wasn't attainable for me. I don't think I would have to take out private loans, several private loans, and be in a lot of debt without the job security. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get a job as a pilot in the end. So that was also a hard situation. A lot of thinking, a lot of difficult conversations. And I basically just agreed that never mind, I can't do this right now. Maybe in the future when I have more money, but right now I can't do this. So I ended up taking a gap year off, and that was hard because seeing everyone else talking about finals, talking about all their fun university parties, it really gets to you. It makes you feel like you're behind and you're failing at life, but you're not. You have to do things at your own pace, and that is okay. It's not a race, and I had to realize that, and I did. That was a difficult situation, but I decided that I was going to apply to university, and I applied last year in what time was it? Was it this Christmas time, December?
Yeah, so the applications, I think they closed March 1st for fall of the next school year.
Yeah. I applied to UT Austin and A&M, and those were the only two schools that I applied to.
Me too.
Yeah. I was actually, I don't really want to go to any of these other colleges. I didn't really want to go to A&M. I was only going because she was there, and it was closer to home, and it was cheaper than UT Austin. UT Austin was honestly a reach school for me. Originally, when I was in high school, I applied to a couple of universities, even though I wasn't sure if I was going to go to them because I wanted to be a pilot. But I applied to U of H, A&M. I did get rejected from A&M, their business school. I applied really late. I do not recommend doing that, especially for a more difficult major to get into. So I decided to apply to colleges again in December. I was really scared when applying because, as I said, I did not get into A&M the first time, and I was okay, we'll try it again and we'll see what happens.
So as I said before, I went straight into community college from high school. I graduated in 2022. I had pretty normal stats in high school, and it wasn't anything crazy. I never submitted SAT scores, but I just didn't have the finances to go to university. My parents were divorcing, so we were going through a lot of changes that year. And I decided, because I didn't have the kind of money that I needed to attend a university, mostly because of the housing situation, because when you go to university, it's you have to pay for, the tuition, which is already 10 grand, housing, which is another 10 grand. Then you need parking passes if you have a car, then you need to pay for food, then you need to pay for books and supplies. So it's just a lot going into this, especially as a high schooler. If you don't have parents that, can help provide or support you, it is really rough. And so I had a conversation with my mom, and she told me what are the most important things to you? And on the top of my list, I was I really don't want to be in that much debt. I'm a little uncomfortable with the idea of having to take out many student loans without knowing exactly what I want to do in school. Talked about going to community college. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was really against it. I was all my friends are going to university. I'm the only one who I know that is going to community college. And there was a lot of toxicity around it. I had an ex-boyfriend tell me that you're better than community college, like you can do a lot better, like, you know. And my dad, he told me like people who go to community college, they're not motivated, you're not gonna do as well, you're not gonna be able to get the opportunities that you have coming out of high school. And so I was a little worried about that because of what everybody was telling me. But then on the other hand, like I did have people who were like, you should do it, it's a great idea. Like I do know some success stories. And so I decided to go despite kind of like the negativity around it and having to be kind of isolated at home because all your friends are gone. That's kind of the journey. I was working and I also was saving up money. I also didn't know really where I wanted to end up after my 2 years. So I applied to UT Austin. I applied to Texas A&M.
Choosing my major was difficult, especially since I didn't really want to do like anything else. I had my mind set on traveling, piloting, learning how to fly an aircraft. That was basically what my mind was at. But I had to really dive deep into the subjects that I really liked in high school. And I really liked economics. I felt like I was able to engage in that class. I was learning a lot, different from STEM, which was like right answer, and then it was not like English, like writing essays and stuff. So I decided to apply as an economics major since it is still part of the liberal arts, so it's a more easy major to get into, I would say. It's less competitive.
I originally wanted to do computer science, but then I was like, I'm horrible at math. I don't think this is a good route for me. I talked to my cousin and someone had mentioned like law, and I was like, I'm really good at English. I love literature. So that's kind of like this idea that I was like, yeah, I think I will look more into law, and that's how I became an English major. Especially after taking like literature classes, I just fell more in love with it. So I kind of leaned on my strengths and knew what my weaknesses were.
I had a 4.2 in GPA in high school and then a 3.9 GPA on the college side.
For my stats, I had, by the end of community college, I had a 3.89 GPA, and I also was super involved in clubs and organizations on campus. I was president of 2 different clubs, including the Just Serve organization and the Ecology Club, and I also was the vice president of leadership for Phi Theta Kappa, the chapter on my campus. I also was an ambassador for our Student Success Institute program that we had at the community college. That's also who I ended up working for through a work study program. So I was trying my best to kind of like fill in the gaps because I knew that I was gonna have to go through a whole other process of applying for colleges, having to look good, having to look shiny all over again.
I was not like involved in any college organizations because it was like just like a dual credit experience. Like I was still a high school student, so I did mostly clubs and stuff in high school. So yeah, I didn't really have many extracurriculars on the college side, but I did put my high school ones on there, like my economics club, NHS, but literally anything that I could think of I put on there. And then volunteering experience, which was actually quite a lot. I would recommend volunteering. I was involved with animal rescue a couple times. I put that on there. Babysat for my church like for 2 years. I had to wait a really long time to find out. A&M rejected me again.
Well, it was more like they deferred her, but like,
Girl, I was rejected. But as she said, I found out I got into UT Austin late June, literally like 2 weeks ago. I accepted.
you see.
I would recommend definitely using your time if you are going to take a gap year. Know what you want to do, because if you want to travel during your gap year, I think that's okay too. I was focused on just making money because I wanted to be a pilot, and that did not happen. But now I'm able to use that money for university in the fall, so it worked out in the end.
I got into Texas A&M and I found out like the end of spring and during like April or May. Then I found out that I got into UT Austin late June, like really late June. And I had no idea, like there was like a glitch on my application online, so I didn't even know I submitted fully my whole application, so I didn't know it was in review. So I had went through with Texas A&M University, I signed a lease, then I was stuck in my lease when I found out that I got into UT Austin, my dream school, so I like wasn't able to break that lease, so I ended up going there. So yeah, that's how I ended up at Texas A&M University, and that was kind of my journey. It was just going straight through high school to community college for 2 years, and then I transferred.
And you are debt free, right?
Yes, I am debt free. I'm debt free, and to be quite transparent, it's because we were able to get Pell Grants. We currently live with our grandparents now, but our situation with our parents is quite unfortunate, and I was able to get a lot of scholarships through the community college. I was in the honors college, and I was in there. They had a program called Distinguished Global Scholars, and I actually was given like a full tuition through that for the whole year. And then I was given a very big scholarship to go study abroad in Morocco for like 2-3 weeks. There was a lot of opportunities for me, but I got so many scholarships through that community college, and just doing almost everything that I could and that I could handle, I did. So yeah, there's different parts of your applications. Of course, I think most of the places require a resume, your essays, your stats,
extracurricular.
Ask for letters of rec that you can send.
Yeah.
Did you send any letters of rec?
I did not send any.
Okay, I don't think that I did either.
I was taking a gap year, so I didn't really have many connections except for my boss. But
we didn't have any letters of rec. You know, some people, not all people, but I think like if they're looking at your resume, you know, they'll appreciate that they can see kind of like what you've been doing with your time off or what you've been doing in community college. Because like, I think that it does show a lot about you, like you're a hard worker. And then for me, I put my job as well. Like I said, I was in PTK. I also had like worked my way up. I think I put that too, like I was originally the historian, and then I originally was like the secretary of like those orgs, and then like just a basic member of like PTK, and kind of just showed that like I had kind of like transitioned roles throughout time. But yeah, like you can put your job. I recommend putting your job, putting any volunteer experience, anything that you put like a lot of effort and time into, just put it there. Even if you think it was unimportant or insignificant, it is who you are. Like, you know, like you put your time and effort. It can't hurt. Yeah. And it also just says a lot about you, whether you think so or not. And then on the resume part, we use like, I guess like a basic template. Okay, so what would you say was the hardest part of the application
definitely
process?
writing the essay, because that can take several weeks, different drafts and renditions of the same essay. So definitely take your time, use that time to really work and try to improve everything you can about that essay. I know everyone says that, but like it really helps on your application.
Okay, when Kenzie was applying, we both were like, I was helping edit her essay, and there were times it was late at night. Like she was sitting on her PC and I was sitting on the floor, like just like typing on my laptop, and I was editing. Like there was nights where it was like 3 a.m. one of the nights.
Yes.
I don't remember why we were up so late doing it though, but yeah, it was like refining, researching the possible careers, right?
Yeah. It was definitely like figuring out what I wanted to do and writing like what I wanted my essay to be about, and then researching the school, and then researching other essays.
It's kind of like thinking in this realm of like, what can you do for the community? What kind of like are your gifts? What are the things that are your strengths that make you sparkle? And everybody has that. Genuinely, everybody has that. I think when it comes to essays, my advice is definitely like talking and focusing on kind of like what you can give back, but don't be so like, I guess, direct about it. But like for Mackenzie, we talked about how like there's a possibility you could be like a policy analyst within economics, a degree in economics. Like we talked about things that were important to her. Like you said like it was important for you to, what was it, like
basically be a voice for the working class.
So she would you know, have the goal of like advocating for policies that could, you know, help this certain group of people that she feels passionate about. Your essays, I genuinely think this, and I think you can frame it in a very good way, is like you as a community college student, you have a very different background, like, and you should like, you know, talk about it and highlight it, and kind of how your experience has helped you build and sculpt you into such a beautiful person now. I think Kenzie has such good stats. Like I know you don't think you do, but I thought she had pretty good stats. Me, on the other hand, like I'm a little low on the lower side compared to you, so I felt I needed to help bridge that weakness by being very involved on my campus, and so that's why I tried to join and like kind of add more to my application. You still can get into these great universities even if you don't have been involved in 10 organizations and so on.
Yeah, know your stats, just know where you lie, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's the greatest advice I think you can give to any transfer student is know your weaknesses and know your strengths, and you should definitely lean on your strengths. Like knowing if like you're like me and you don't have like a 4.0 GPA but you want to go to a school that has a 31% acceptance rate, you're gonna have to like fill in those gaps. But yeah, I think that's a lot of information, but I think that's mostly like what I wanted to talk about because you know, it's hard.
Yeah, especially now.
So like if anybody has any questions or like wants to know more information, like say so in the comments and we'll try and like, you know, answer or make another video. But yeah, the whole point of this is just to help start a conversation, put some more experiences of like success of transfer students, you know, and just kind of like help people get more perspective, get a broader perspective on this whole idea of, you know, transferring.